Welcome to Mathias Moral Tales. If today is your first time, please don't forget to subscribe. Now enjoy your video and learn from it. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by tall baobab trees and golden farmlands, there lived two brothers named Kofi and Kojo. Kofi, the elder brother, was hardworking and kind-hearted. Though he was poor, he never allowed hunger to steal his compassion. He greeted elders with respect, helped widows carry firewood, and shared whatever little food he had. But Kojo, the younger brother, was different. Kojo loved money more than people. He hated sharing. Even when children cried from hunger near his compound, he would shut his door and pretend not to hear them. Their mother, Mama Abena, was old and weak. Her back had bent from years of farming under the hot sun. Yet every morning she prayed for her sons. She often said, "Kindness brings blessings that gold cannot buy." But only Kofi listened. Kojo believed kindness was for fools. One evening, as dark clouds gathered above the village, Mama Abena called both sons into her small mud house. Her voice trembled. "My children, my days on this earth are almost over." The brothers exchanged worried glances. "I have a blessing for both of you," she whispered, "but only the son with a clean heart will truly keep it." That night, rain fell heavily across the village rooftops. Inside the hut, Mama Abena brought out a small calabash wrapped in old cloth. "This calabash," she said weakly, "must never be opened because of greed." Kojo's eyes widened immediately. "What is inside it?" he asked. Mama Abena looked at him carefully. "A blessing." Kofi lowered his head respectfully. Their mother continued, "After my death, keep this calabash safely together. Use its blessing wisely, and your lives will prosper." But greed had already entered Kojo's heart like a snake entering dry grass. That very night, while Kofi slept, Kojo stared endlessly at the calabash. What kind of blessing could make a poor man rich, he thought. The rain continued beating against the roof as temptation slowly consumed him. Before sunrise, Mama Abena passed away peacefully in her sleep. The entire village mourned her. Women cried loudly in sorrow, while elders beat slow drums beneath the baobab tree. Kofi wept openly, but Kojo's mind was elsewhere. Even during the funeral, his thoughts remained on the mysterious calabash. What if it contains gold? What if Mother hid wealth from us all these years? Days passed. One evening, Kojo finally spoke. "Brother," he said, pretending to smile, "we should bury Mother's calabash with her. It was precious to her." Kofi hesitated, "But she asked us to keep it." Kojo sighed dramatically. "Should we dishonor her final memory?" Kofi, innocent and trusting, agreed. That night under moonlight, the brothers walked silently toward their mother's grave carrying the calabash. But greed was about to reveal its true face. As they reached the grave, Kofi suddenly heard villagers calling his name from afar. "I'll return soon," he said before walking away. The moment Kofi disappeared, Kojo quickly opened the calabash. His hands trembled with excitement, but inside, there was no gold, no silver, only seeds, ordinary brown seeds. Kojo's face twisted with anger. "All this for seeds?" he spat. Furious, he buried the calabash beside the grave. "She fooled us," he growled. But unknown to Kojo, those seeds were no ordinary seeds. They carried the blessing of sacrifice, patience, and abundance. And by burying them in anger, Kojo had buried his own blessing. Months later, a terrible drought struck the village. The rivers dried, crops failed, children cried from hunger, families became desperate. But strangely, near Mama Abena's grave, green plants began to grow, healthy, strong, unlike anything in the village. Kofi noticed it first. "Brother, look." The plants multiplied quickly until the grave became surrounded by rich crops and fruit-bearing vines. Villagers whispered among themselves, "The old woman's spirit still blesses this land." Kofi harvested the food carefully and shared it freely with hungry families. But Kojo burned with jealousy. "That blessing should have been mine," he thought bitterly. One night, unable to control himself, Kojo sneaked back to the grave with a shovel. "If the blessing grows here," he whispered, "then I will take it for myself." Madness filled his eyes. He dug wildly into the soil. But suddenly, the wind began to howl. The trees shook violently. A deep voice echoed through the darkness. A greedy heart can never keep a blessing. Kojo froze. His hands shook uncontrollably. Then the ground beneath him collapsed. He fell into the pit, screaming. By morning, villagers found him unconscious beside the destroyed grave. From that day onward, nothing in Kojo's life prospered again. His crops failed. His animals died. Even traders avoided him, because greed had poisoned his spirit. Meanwhile, Kofi continued helping others despite his poverty. He repaired broken roofs for widows. He fed orphan children, and every harvest from the blessed land he shared before feeding himself. The village elders noticed. One elder said, Mama Abina's true blessing was never the seeds. It was the heart she tried to plant inside her sons. Years later, Kofi's kindness transformed the village. Travelers brought trade. The land prospered again, and Kofi became one of the most respected men in the region, not because he chased wealth, but because he valued people above riches. Kojo watched all this from afar, alone, bitter, broken. One evening, he sat beside his mother's grave as the sun disappeared behind the hills. For the first time in many years, he cried, not because he was poor, but because he finally understood what he had buried. He whispered softly, Mother, forgive me. The wind blew gently through the tall grass, and though no voice answered him, his heart finally heard the truth. Greed may fill the hands for a moment, but kindness fills generations. As years passed, parents told the story of the two brothers to their children. They spoke of the greedy brother who buried his mother's blessing, and they taught an important lesson. A blessing without wisdom becomes destruction. A heart without kindness becomes empty, and greed can bury the very miracle meant to save you. Even today, villagers say that whenever crops grow near old graves after heavy rain, Mama Abina's spirit is reminding the world that true wealth grows from goodness. So remember this story whenever greed whispers into your heart. Not every blessing shines like gold. Some blessings come as seeds, small, simple, easy to ignore. But if planted with kindness, patience, and humility, they can feed generations. And that is why the villagers never forgot the greedy brother who buried his mother's blessing. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Never forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. See you another day.